Imitation plus flattery equals happy people.
They say imitation is the highest form of flattery, so here are 10 hilarious knockoff fast food chains that actually exist.
You stole them from me! You stole them from me!
Michael Alone.
Why are you here eating alone?
Serving an average of 69 million customers a day worldwide, McDonald's has become one of the most popular fast food chains to try and rip off. Most of these imposters pick a name that sounds at least somewhat similar to the original chain, like McDoner in Kazakhstan or MashDonald's in Iran. And the next time you find yourself in Kurdistan, why not try a Big Mac? That's Mac with a K from Madonald. But if we're handing out prizes for the McDonald's knockoff with the most creative name, that title may just have to go to Michael Alone. Located in China, you'll find a number of familiar touches to the decor, including a red and yellow color scheme, as well as the famous golden arches turned upside down. Their menu includes burgers, fries, and chicken nuggets. All of this is well and good, but there are still a couple of questions on everyone's minds.
I want to know.
What?
Who's Michael, and why is he alone? According to some theories, the restaurant's name may be a bit of a creative Home Alone reference, which was released under a title that can be translated as Little Boy, the Head of Household in China. Playing around with the Chinese characters for the movie's titles, as well as the characters for McDonald's, what you wind up with is Michael Alone. It may seem a little strange, sure, but apparently this knockoff proved popular enough to spawn a knockoff on its own, Michael Alone. It borrows the same McDonald's-inspired decor from Michael Alone, except Michael Alone comes complete with a Ronald McDonald-inspired clown statue standing outside, just in case you didn't already find the original mascot creepy enough. Duffin Dagels.
I see what you're doing here.
What's a Duffin, you may be asking? Or, while we're on the subject, what's a Dagel? This seemingly random string of nonsense is actually the name of a Spanish imposter of Dunkin' Donuts. They borrow the same pink and orange color scheme, an extremely similar logo and aesthetic for their social media pages. They serve coffee and donuts, though they refer to their donuts as Duffins. And they offer a few things that you wouldn't be able to get at a Dunkin' Donuts as well, such as extremely decadent milkshakes that have helped catch the attention of social media followers.
I just feel like everybody's watching me.
At last count, there were at least 30 Duffin Dagels locations operating throughout Spain, and the company at one point expressed interest in becoming a much bigger franchise. They seem to draw in a crowd, but it's difficult to say if it's the food that's been catching their attention. They're far from the only Dunkin' Donuts ripoff either. Moving over to Nuremberg, Germany, we have the somehow even more confusingly named Donkey Donuts, although they would eventually end up changing their name to Crazy Donuts. We suppose that donkeys just didn't really get people in the mood to enjoy some sweet desserts. Pizza, huh?
Pizza parlor, huh?
This is potentially one of the most suiting names for a knockoff fast food chain we've ever seen. It starts out feeling familiar enough, but in the end it just leaves you asking so many questions. Pizza Hut can be found in a mall in China dedicated entirely to knockoff brands. But possibly the most popular of the Pizza Hut imposters would probably be Pizza Hat in Iran. The original Pizza Hut chain was forced to move out of Iran, leaving a space open in the market for the Hat to step in.
Our time has finally come.
For those of you who are curious, their pizza is apparently very similar, though made with more dill than American diners would be used to. They use a man wearing a red fedora for their logo, and while this may simply be a reference to the restaurant's name, it also bears a strange resemblance to a certain pizza patron logo. We'll give them credit for having stolen ideas from multiple chains instead of just the one this time around, at least. But even still, would it have killed them to give him a literal pizza hat? Dairy Fairy.
Who's up for Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen!
Should you ever find yourself in China and craving a blizzard from Dairy Queen, the Dairy Fairy has apparently earned its name as the place to go, except they offer snowstorms instead. The frozen treat is served in blue and red cups that look so similar to something you could get from Dairy Queen that you may do a double take. They even turn their snowstorms upside down before serving them to you, in exactly the same way that Dairy Queen does. Dairy Fairy has recently expanded to South Africa as well, suggesting that they may just be one of the most popular knockoffs on this list.
We're number one!
According to those who have eaten at Dairy Fairy, their soft serve is delicious. But then again, it's sort of difficult to ruin ice cream. So, as long as you're willing to overlook the fact that their menu isn't the most creative out there, we'd say to check it out if you have the chance. And before you start thinking that Americans are completely innocent in this form of stealing, look no further than the Dairy King in Connecticut. No matter where you are in the world, if it's popular, someone will find a way to copy it for sure. Sunny Day.
It's a sunny day. I love a sunny day.
This knockoff has a name that's just different enough from the original to prove tricky. Sunny Day and Subway sound just different enough to keep them out of any legal trouble, but when you write them in a similar white and yellow font, they can almost be mistaken for the same word from a distance. This places them in the unique position of being able to pull in customers expecting a Subway without having to worry all too much about hearing from their lawyers. Sunny Day is located in Yemen, and it is far from the only sandwich shop trying to cash in on Subway's success and name.
A good artist copies. A great artist steals.
While Sunny Day at least chose a name that can be recognized as a name, there's also a Subway imposter in Iran that seems to have chosen nothing more than a random collection of oddly spaced white and yellow letters on a green board. Some of these letters appear to have been stolen straight from the Subway logo, while others barely even resemble letters. Like, is the letter on the bottom left supposed to be the letter C, or what? Some have attempted to pronounce this knockoff's name as Saisa, and we commend them for trying. Cheeseburger.
Okay, cheeseburger helper, you're on.
This is a restaurant with a name that cuts right to the heart of what they're all about. What do they serve? Cheeseburgers, of course. Quick, simple, and to the point. In fact, this fast food joint from China would hardly be suspected as a substitute if it weren't for the fact that their logo is almost identical to Burger King's.
You're a robber?
I'm a thief.
Burger Friends from Iraq took an even more direct approach with their theft, offering a blue and yellow color scheme almost identical to Burger King's, as well as a menu serving burgers, fries, and soft drinks. But considering how, well, friendly they try to appear, and the fact that Burger King is not actually allowed in Iraq, leaving privately owned knockoffs as the country's only option, we can't begrudge them too much for this. Stars and Bucks Cafe.
Looks like the Starbucks mermaid.
This Starbucks knockoff operates out of Bethlehem, Palestine, and besides their nearly identical name, they also use a circular green logo that can still be easily mistaken for the original at a quick glance. But Stars and Bucks Cafe is far from the only coffee shop guilty of stealing a few ideas from the American coffee chain, and some of them get pretty creative. For example, in Wuxi, China, you'll find soft cucks, which may sound a little rude if you attempt to say this jumble of letters aloud, but nowhere near as rude as the name given to the ultimate Starbucks knockoff, Starf. That's right, they went there. To be fair, this last one is not currently in business, but it was suggested as the name of a potential store that a mall in Sichuan, China wanted to attract.
You attract in what you put out.
Apparently, it's common practice for mall owners hoping to open up one of these knockoffs to place a sign on a vacant retail space with the suggested name printed on it until someone comes along willing to rent the spot. So no, Starfucks is not official, but there is a very good chance that it could be soon. Otherwise, there's also Starbucks Coffee in London, England, which took a slightly subtler approach by being a knockoff in name mostly. Their color scheme is red and white with no signs of the Starbucks green that every other imposter tries to rip off. And they serve their coffee out of a humble little hut. Even still, Starbucks asked them to stop using the word star in their name or advertising, and so they now go by the name Box Coffee. Taco Bell Grande.
Hey, this isn't Taco Bell.
Taco Bell may have proven itself a fan favorite when it comes to serving Mexican-inspired flavors in America, and yet they've only been available in China these last few years. Before that, the closest you could have gotten if you found yourself craving burritos in China would be Taco Bell Grande, a hilariously underwhelming sit-down restaurant serving Mexican-inspired tastes such as tacos and fajitas. Between the live mariachi band and the waitstaff serving you in sombreros, there's something overly cheesy about this atmosphere, to the point that it almost feels like it belongs in some sort of theme park.
All the great themes have been used up, turned into theme parks.
But that being said, it's clear that Taco Bell Grande wanted to offer a somewhat upscale dinner experience. And with a bilingual menu offering things like oxtail soup and smoked salmon, they were a little bit more than your standard ripoff of an American fast food chain. All Taco Bell Grande locations were closed in 2008 as the company that operated it now oversees all real Taco Bell locations in China. It's likely that they just didn't want the competition, but we have to admit that there was something a little extra special about this imposter. Obama fried chicken.
You love Kentucky Fried Chicken, right?
No.
What does Barack Obama have to do with fried chicken? Well, this rip-off chicken, and for some reason burger, joint from China may have simply been trying for a familiar American theme when they chose the 44th president for both their mascot and name. But that doesn't mean eyebrows weren't raised over the potentially racist connotations in their choice of mascot as well. Did they really need to choose the only African-American president for their fried chicken restaurant? They use the same red and white color scheme as KFC, as well as a smiling image of President Barack Obama dressed in Colonel Sanders' iconic bow tie and apron. The tagline, "We so cool, aren't we?" seems to be an attempt at casual American slang, but otherwise it doesn't explain what any of this has to do with Obama.
Obama is president.
KFC caught wind of this ripoff at some point in 2011 and considered taking legal action, calling the restaurant offensive and accusing them of playing into racist stereotypes. Obama fried chicken may not be entirely to blame for this, however. First of all, the stereotype of tying African Americans with fried chicken isn't quite as well known in China as it is in the United States. Regardless, they changed their name shortly afterwards to avoid any further scandal, so that it now abbreviates to UFO. But if a space-themed KFC ripoff that still uses Obama's face for its mascot isn't quite to your tastes, why not check out Crispy Crunchy Fried Chicken from Nepal, KFG in China, or the ripoff from Thailand that very simply uses the name Hitler and a logo depicting Adolf Hitler's face on Colonel Sanders' body. It seems as though KFC has had a particularly bad string of offensive knockoffs over the years. Dominic's Pizza.
I have a dinner reservation for 2 tonight at Dominic's, and it's just me.
This name may have gotten a pass from us, considering the UK-based pizza chain may simply be named after someone named Dominic. We don't know that for sure, but that would make sense, right? They offer pizza, of course, but they also serve kebabs, burgers, and southern fried chicken, and so their menu isn't an exact ripoff from Domino's. But even trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, it's hard to deny that there's something very familiar about their signage. They use a familiar red, white, and blue color scheme, though they may throw in a bit of yellow as well.
Actually, yellow would be kind of nice.
On top of that, their logo may be a domino of sorts. They definitely went out of their way to get creative with the design, making it a little more abstract. But when your customer base may or may not be coming from the pubs, it suddenly becomes a little harder to tell that you aren't in a Domino's. Whether the owner's name is Dominic or not, their choice in signage is definitely meant to catch the attention of fans of the larger pizza chain.